Hey everyone, welcome back for another preview and predictions video for a 2024 to 25 NFL season. The team that we're going to be taking an in-depth look at today is our 2024 Baltimore Ravens football team. We're going to do a complete preview of their roster, seeing what pieces they lost from last season, what pieces they're adding for this season, but also looking at their entire 2024 football schedule, trying to predict which games they're going to win, lose, and what we predict their final record will be. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, any opinions, drop them below and I will respond. So kind of to set a basis for what we're basing everything off of for our 2024 Baltimore Ravens, Vegas has them coming in at 11.5 wins. So Vegas has them having a really good season, making the playoffs, potentially clinching their division again. For Baltimore, this is a team that had a great season last year. A lot of people had them making the Super Bowl last season. A lot of people had them winning the Super Bowl last season, but they fell off at the very end. They were not able to complete the mission, but maybe this is the season that they put everything together. They are the reigning AFC North champs. They were the favorites to make the Super Bowl this past season. Like I mentioned, they did fall short, but there's a lot of optimism that they're going to get back to this year. Lamar Jackson is a two-time MVP. You know what you're getting with him every single season now. You're getting an MVP performance every time that he suits up every year. But just like last season, that was the closest that they got to the Super Bowl under Lamar Jackson. They've been periodically getting better every single season. They almost got there last year, but maybe this year, maybe that's when they get over the hump and they are a healthier team than they were last season. So that could be the kicker right there. Now, they did lose some defensive players in the offseason, but the offense should be better because the offense should be healthier, and they had a really good offense last season. They had a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense, and they should be better this season. You're adding in running back Derrick Henry. That is a massive, massive difference maker. If he's healthy, he could have a 1,000-yard season on the ground. So who knows what the ceiling is with him when you're adding him to an already deadly rushing attack. You have the offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. He is back with a really deep running back room. They're going to ground, they're going to pound, and they're also going to be able to go vertical with the offense. One of the best running attacks last season by far, and you're adding more depth. Jackson, Henry, the fullback record, Mitchell. The running back room is loaded. Now the offensive line is going to need some revamping. There are 3 starters that are gone, but it will be rebuilt. Mainly, they still have the center, Tyler Linderbaum there. He's the anchor to the offensive line. As long as he's there, hopefully they can piece everything together around him to open up some holes for the running backs and buy Jackson some room to hit those vertical deep throws down the field. Now, obviously, the biggest change to me, even with Derrick Henry, is tight end Mark Andrews will be healthy this season. He will be playing this season. That is that is Lamar Jackson's safety blanket, is to hit him in the flat. That's going to be a major threat. He could potentially have 1,000 yards. You add in Zay Flowers, Bateman, the receiving room will be set. Baltimore's defense was great last season, top 3 in the NFL, but the defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, he is now gone off to Seattle. The new DC will be Zach Orr. He was the old linebackers coach, but there's a lot of names there. So the defense is still loaded. JM's back, Smith, Hamilton, Pierce, Van Noy, Owen, Ajabo, Isaac, Simpson, Humphrey, Wiggins, Williams. There's a lot of pieces there for them to be able to put everything together to be able to match potentially the production they were putting up on defense last year. But let's go ahead and get things started. Let's take a look at their 2024 schedule and try to see maybe if we can predict their games. They kick things off Thursday, September 5th at the Kansas City Chiefs. So starting the year with the reigning Super Bowl champs. If you play the Chiefs, you honestly want to play them at the beginning of the season. They actually started out the year pretty crappy last year. They got hot second half. You want to play them prior to that second half. Try to steal an easy win versus the Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs, they added in Worthy. He's a massive deep threat. We don't yet fully know what's going to be going on with Rice, but I think that the Ravens can easily steal one here, and they can start out the year 1-0. I have the Ravens winning this game starting out 1-0. The next game that we're looking at is Sunday, September 15th versus Las Vegas. You have Pierce here as the head coach for the Raiders. The Raiders, they have a lot of quarterback questions. Till they get that sorted out, I can't have them competing with Baltimore as of right now. They played really well under Pierce last season. They are a competitive team, but I'm going with Baltimore to win that, and they're going to be 2-0. Their next game is Sunday, September 22nd at Dallas. Obviously, you know what you're getting with the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are really hard to play in Dallas. They're one of the best home field teams. You have Dak Prescott there. You had a top 5 offense last season, a top 5 defense. They are at home. But, I mean a major but here, I'm going to go with who's probably going to be the underdog that game, a slight underdog. I actually have the Ravens beating the Dallas Cowboys at home, stealing a win, catching them off guard. They're 3-0. Their next game is going to be Sunday, September 29th versus Buffalo. Buffalo, obviously, they're having to rebuild their receiving core as of right now. Diggs is gone. You still have Josh Allen. Whenever you have an MVP-level quarterback like Josh Allen, if the game turns into a shootout, he's more than capable of slinging it out with you, but he can also cost you the game. Sometimes he has a 350 passing yard game, and then sometimes he has a 3-pick game. So you really don't know what you're getting there. It could go either way. They have a really good defense, but they lost a lot from last season's squad because they had a lot of cap issues. But I'm going to go with the Ravens being just a little wore out from their Cowboys slugfest. I think that's going to be a really close fourth quarter game, and they kind of limp into this game, and the Bills are able to catch them. I have the Ravens losing this one, and they're 3-1. The next game is going to be Sunday, October 6th at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is obviously going to be a lot better of a team than they were last season. They were beat up. Joe Burrow should be back. We haven't seen him play in a really long time, but he has massive weapons all over the field, wide receivers, running backs. He's going to spread the ball around. I have Cincinnati winning this one, and the Ravens slide to 3-2. After that, Sunday, October 13th, versus Washington. Washington has a lot going on. You obviously are going to have a rookie starting quarterback making his, this will be his first season starting, and new coaches, new schemes. They're not a bad roster. They weren't even a bad roster last season, but they never got everything together on the same page. Even though Jaden Daniels is obviously probably going to have a decent rookie season, the Baltimore Ravens are going to make his life miserable. That D-line is going to be eating him up. He's going to get sacked a lot this game. I have the Ravens winning this one, and they're 4-2. The next game is Monday, October 21st at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was actually a pretty decent team last season. They played really competitively, had a really good year, made it pretty far in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield was one of the comeback players of the year. They have weapons on this team. They have a good run-stopping team, solid defense, a good wide receiver core on the team. The weapons are there for him to spread it out, but Baltimore is going to sense blood here. They're going to beat Tampa Bay, and they're going to be 5-2. After that, Sunday, October 27th at Cleveland. Cleveland is one of those teams. Had Deshaun Watson stayed healthy all of last season, even though he played like crap, we know that Joe came out, led the team. Flacco had a great season. They pieced things together. This is actually a really good roster. A solid top 5, top 10 defense there. They have massive weapons on the offensive side. It's just they were kind of quarterback-less through a lot of last season, a lot of injuries. They should be healthier this season. I have Baltimore falling in Cleveland to the Browns just because I think that defense is able to bottle up Jackson, cause some turnovers. This won't be his best game. If there's one game of the season when he doesn't have a good game, I think that it's going to fall in this game and Baltimore drops to 5-3. But no reason to panic. Do not worry at all. Next game after that, Sunday, November 3rd versus Denver. Obviously, with the Broncos, you also have a lot of changes coming in. You have changes at the quarterback position. You have them making a lot of moves roster-wise. But let's be honest. Are you really going to be starting Bo Nix versus the Ravens defense and versus that defensive line? They're going to feast this game. Baltimore's going to win it big, and they're going to be 6-3. Then after that, you're going to have our Amazon Prime game, Thursday, November 7th versus Cincinnati. It's really hard to beat a good team twice in one season, let alone Cincinnati. I had them taking the first matchup versus the Ravens. Now we're going to be at home in Baltimore. I have Baltimore getting revenge, them splitting this game. I have Baltimore winning it, and they're now 7-3. The next game, Sunday, November 17th at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is one of those teams that always gives Baltimore a run for their money. Jackson's worst games, for some reason, is always versus Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh always has a solid defense. They always have a top 10 defense. The thing that's held them back the last few years is ever since Big Ben retired, they haven't been able to sort out the quarterback situation. Maybe this year is going to be a lot different. They've made a lot of moves. They have a lot of different players coming in. But I have the Ravens losing to Pittsburgh. Really close game, probably a one possession or a field goal at the very end of the fourth quarter. Baltimore drops to 7-4. And then after that, Monday, November 25th, at the LA Chargers. So LA, massive changes they had. They have Harbaugh coming in. They have new coordinators. You have Justin Herbert with that massive contract that he signed. This is actually a really good roster, but the coaching staff was never able to get everything together. Their defensive roster, very talented. The offensive roster, very talented, but they were never performing at the same time for a team to win a game. When the defense played well, the offense sucked. When the offense played well, the defense gave up nonstop touchdowns. But I have Baltimore as the more experienced team with their coaching staff, with their coordinators. I have them winning a close one versus the Chargers, a potential shootout, and Baltimore is now 8-4. Then after that, Sunday, December 1st versus Philadelphia. This is going to be a really fun game here, obviously with the Eagles. This is a team that made the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Very talented team. Last season's second half, they completely stunk the place up, played horrible. Hurts did not have a good season. Coaching staff made a lot of questionable decisions. But when you look at the roster at the individual players, there is massive talent on the roster. A lot of the same talent from their Super Bowl team. Can they put everything back together? Can they piece the team back together? I think they'll have a similar season to last year, and Baltimore is going to beat them here, and they're going to be 9-4, having a really strong second half. After that, Sunday, December 15th, at the New York Giants. Going to New York, playing the Giants. Giants had a really good last, 1.5 months of the season last year. Performed really well. But I honestly think it's because there was no expectations for them. They had that really bad Jones contract. But they did play well, so give them props there. It's just they don't have a lot of legit talent on the roster. They have a lot of pieces coming in, but they're still lacking. They're not able to compete with the Ravens here. Ravens win, and they're 10-4. After that, Saturday, a Saturday game, December 21st versus Pittsburgh. I mentioned before, it's hard to beat the same team twice in one season. Pittsburgh gave Lamar Jackson some headaches that first game. Look for them to completely rebound here. They've sorted some things out. You beat them once, you're not going to beat them twice. Baltimore is going to put a beat down on Pittsburgh, and they're 11-4. After that, Wednesday, December 25th at Houston. Houston's a fun game. Came out of nowhere last season. Props to C.J. Stroud. That was a great pickup. He is leading that team. They have a strong offense. They can throw it. They can run it. They have weapons at every single position on the offense. So this game could potentially be a shootout. But if you're going to have a shootout, Baltimore is going to have a top 3 offense in the entire NFL. They're going to win this one. Could potentially be a higher scoring game, but they win 12-4. Final game of the season, Sunday, January 5th versus Cleveland. I already gave the Browns a lot of praise when they were at home earlier in the season. That defense, that offense, they have playmakers. They took the first one. They're not going to take the second one. The only hang up here could be these teams could have clinched the playoffs, might be resting a lot of starters. But even if Baltimore rules out a lot of their second string, I still have them winning this game. In a close one, though. Low scoring, like a 20-14, 17-14 game. And they finished the regular season 13-4. Vegas has them at 11.5 wins. I'm going with the over. 13-4, winning the division and potentially making the Super Bowl. This is the season. This is the roster. Everything's set for them. They just have to take it. That's our breakdown of our 2024 Baltimore Ravens. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I will respond. Thanks.